I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, April the 10th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Mida. Check out how Macrocin compared head-to-head versus Pioneer products in a 4,600 head trial at macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards, starting at 7 a.m., got a pretty good run of 7,000 head with a lot of yearlings again this week. Will be a lot of load lots of yearlings. If you need some yearlings to fill some empty pen space, be sure to get on to dvauction.com, view and bid the sale at Joplin, or call and put your order in there at Joplin Regional Stockyards. Uncharted territory, and we broke the all-time high fat cattle price record last week. We talked about that already. So now we're going into uncharted territory, and I talked to several guys last week and talking about the fat cattle market, and they said, I ain't never seen a market like this. Well, nobody else has either. This is a whole new deal. But unlike the last time that we got to the 173 and now we're above that level, I don't think we're near the top. I think we're going to keep going. I mentioned last week that I think the fat cattle market will hit $2 a pound, and I don't think it's going to take that long to get there. The few guys that are negotiated traders, they've kind of learned again or relearned how to trade, and they've got these packers on their heels. These packers cannot pretend that they don't need the cattle anymore. I've talked to you about the packer mentality, that they don't need any cattle, and they're really doing you a favor if they take them. Well, they've tipped their hand now. Everybody knows how short bought they are. We had a light slaughter last week. A lot of times a light slaughter is a bearish thing because you're thinking, well, we're not moving the cattle through the system enough. But the light slaughter here means that the packers are just going to be that short of product. And a lot of that product they've already promised to their customers moving into the time of the year where they're ramping up the specials, and they may not be having many specials this spring for beef because they're so short of product, but they've already made obligations to supply a lot of product as we start pulling these grills out for Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, all these early summer holidays we've got coming up, and they didn't get hardly anything slaughtered last week. 603,000, 50 to 60,000 less than what we normally do in a week like this. So they're running short of product. We're short of market-ready cattle, and your cattle sellers are just in the driver's seat. They're absolutely in the driver's seat, and like I say, I think this is going to continue to go on. Of course, the feeders will too, but the feed is really going to dictate that. And now we're just going to be watching the planting of corn as we start to move up into the Midwest. And planting this corn, and it's going to be wet to get in the fields, but that's a good thing. Once you can get in the field, we're going to have some deep moisture in that soil, and it is going to get a good start on that crop. And then if we have some timely rains, then that'll be great, and we could have a big crop, and that would be great for everybody. And I think, as you guys have noticed, we're moving into a more moisture type year this year. Been a lot of moisture up in the northern plains with all that snow. If you can imagine how much rain that would make. It's about 10 to 1 on the ratio there of inches of snow for an inch of rain, and they've had feet and feet and feet of snow up there packed. And now it's forecasted to really start warming up there. I fear that we're going to have some bad flooding up in that part of the country, and then as it comes down those rivers, I fear that we're going to have a lot of flooding in those areas that are prone to do that along your major rivers there, coming down from all that melted snow. But Water is our most precious resource by far. We've got to start learning to figure out some new ways to try to conserve that fresh water, guys, and keep it all from running off into these oceans. But we're excited here in the Texas Panhandle in Canyon, Texas. It was raining on Easter morning, and I hope all of you guys had a happy Resurrection Day. I certainly did with my family. We had rain on Sunday morning in Canyon, Texas, Amarillo area. So as the old wives' tale says, we're expecting rain for the next 7 Sundays. That would probably be some type of a record, but we're into breaking records now. So, but maybe it is going to be a wet spring, or it wouldn't take much to be wetter than last spring. But we're hoping to get some timely moisture here as we move forward, because it's been terribly dry down here in the southern plains. The worst is Kansas by far. Let's talk about your board for last week. April live cattle futures, Monday was down 22, Tuesday down 52, Wednesday up 80, Thursday up 267, and then Good Friday had the market closed on Friday. But April live cattle ended the week at 170.107. That was up $2.72 for the week. June ended at 163.10 only, up just 98 cents, and I think there's an opportunity, guys, there. I know you hate to gamble, especially when you're making money, but that just doesn't seem right. We're ahead of the market that's a spot market, and looking into June with continuously tighter market-ready supplies and aggressive packers, and we've got the board trading all the way back to 163. When I think, and a lot of other people do too, that it could be in the 180s, 190s, or even $2 by then, and sitting at 163.10. I think it's way undervalued, and people should be jumping on it in a big way. April feeder cattle, Monday was down $1.87, Tuesday down $1, Wednesday down 12 cents, Thursday up $2.80. Friday closed April feeder cattle into the week at $200.62. That was actually down 20 cents. May ended the week at 205.40, up only 15 cents. But they're still trading at a premium. Even April feeder cattle are trading at a premium, about a $3 to $4 premium to what your real-time index is, what your cash index levels are. And until it starts slipping under that, I'm not going to get too worried about feeder cattle not being higher just because the cash is higher whenever it's been trading at a big premium bar. But your grains, May corn, 643.5 at the end of the week. That was down 17 cents. December was 556 3/4, down 9 3/4 cents. We kind of like the sound of that. Soybeans for May, 1492.5, down 13, and November at 1309 3/4, down 10 cents a bushel. Fat cattle trade last week, up through Thursday, 82,700 head, then a little bit more trade on Friday, not a lot more, but we don't sell 100,000 anymore. There's not 100,000 cattle that are ripe, that are ready to go, that sell negotiated right now. We may get there again, but up through Thursday of last week, your live sales of steers and heifers in your 5-area feeding region ranged from 170 all the way to 178. I heard several people tell me that they sold at 180 with no bells and whistles, just straight cash, but it did not get turned in yet. We have not seen it. I would not doubt that we see it when we get this wrap up here to start the week, and we'll talk about it on our next visit. But 170 to 178 is the best we've seen. That's $4 to $6 higher. Weighted average on live steers up through Thursday was 173.08, so we know we broke the record, and that was up $4.34. Talk about your dress sales, 272 to 283, $7 to $8 higher on a spread there, and your weighted average on dress steers, 278.62, up 826 for the week on the weighted average. Wow, that is huge gains, guys. Friday, little dab of trade in Iowa, about 500 head confirmed. I wouldn't doubt that was some late trade there, as hungry as these packers are. 25,800 head for the week in Iowa. The only thing we saw confirmed on Friday was 174 to 175. And 280 on a dress basis. Of course, it was Good Friday with a holiday coming up. That had our feeder cattle markets kind of quiet too. But Nebraska sold 31,900 last week. Kansas 15,800 and Texas 9,700. Pretty good movement in all the major trading areas. Colorado, as hungry as these packers are, and we're having regional packers chasing cattle everywhere, we still haven't seen enough trade in Colorado for the market reports to print anything. That's ridiculous. Box beef cutout values, your weighted average on all of last week's choice cuts, 288.45. That was up 794 for the week. Huge gains, and we think we've started the spring rally in our dress meat. But the end of the week trades on Friday afternoon were another $2.50 higher than that weighted average on the choice cuts. Now select, a weighted average on all of last week's cuts, 276.54, up 691, so it gained too, but not as much, but then fell off a little bit. Your late week trade on selects was about not quite $1 less than that. So we're seeing that choice select spread widen like I thought it would. It was almost $12 last week on the weighted average. 465 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings last week, which is really hard to really judge because we don't know for sure what all's going on there. But what else is going on? DV auction, of course, is busy with production sales this time of year. It's bull sale season here, starting to wind down a little bit, but we've been really crazy here the last couple of months here. I'm glad to be here at the friendly confines for a change. But our production sale report came in for March. This is just production sales, your purebred bull sales and the like, your catalog sales, not our commercial sales that we have, which we have a lot of those every week too. But in March, on our production sale report, we had online bids of 42,600 bids. Wow. Lots sold were over 7,500 lots sold just in our production sales, guys. And purchases totaled up to $36.2 million at our DV auction production sales in March. If you guys are having a production sale and you're not letting DV auction broadcast that for you and take the online bids, you're literally missing out on tens of thousands of approved bidders that would be interested in your cattle. Let's talk about our feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 196.99, up $5.18 for the week. Wow. Your CME cash feeder cattle index has got some big gains to make because they're always running behind, of course, and they're way behind. So you can expect them to come up quite a bit here early in the week this week. Cash feeders in your sale barns range $3 to $10 higher on all classes, even new crop calves. Of course, if they were fleshy and unweaned, that was going to hurt them, but the price increase on them was still that much. Our Zoeta stick-out sale for late last week or over the weekend, of course the weekend didn't have any sales because of Easter, but Mankato livestock sales in Mankato, Kansas had a really good sale on Friday. 2,500 feeders plus there. Look at this automated market report. You see the best tested weights, and they were huge gains on those. 357 head of 5-weight steer calves in Mankato, Kansas, average 548 pounds with a weighted average price of $248.07. 313 head of 6-weight steer calves in Mankato, Kansas, had an average weight of 635. Weighted average price on all those 6-weight steers of $227.44. That was sharply higher, guys, like $15 higher comparing your weighted averages from last week. 284 head of 8-weight steers averaged $857 with a weighted average price of $191.96. That was up $10 on the weighted average. and 227 head of 9-weight steers, average 929. Weighted average price on Friday in Mankato, Kansas, $185.71, about $5 higher on your weighted average from just last week. So huge gains there, just like everywhere else, guys. Give you a few stick out deals late last week. Bloomington, Wisconsin, Bloomington Livestock Exchange there. They had an Angus and Holstein special. Look at these big Holstein steers. 57 head of them, weighed 895 at 161. That'd be a pretty good price on good black Angus steers, guys, or crosses. If you'd have asked you 8 months ago if you'd have been happy with that, you'd have probably said sure. But how about Magnus Livestock Market, Huron, South Dakota? 66 head of steers, weighed 838 and bring 207. And we're going to see more of that too. It's going to take $2 and something for an 8-weight to make an individual quote on the feeder flash for quite a while. How about your Macrison No BS top quote for the day? Come out of Torrington Livestock Markets on Friday. They sold 75 head of 694-pound steers, bring $2.45 a pound. That's your feeder flash for Monday.